is not justified.
San Antonio's police chief says 17-year-old Eric Cantu wasn't a threat when he was eating in his car last week. Former officer James Brennan reported he thought that same car had evaded police the night before.
We have a policy that prohibits officers from shooting at vehicles, moving vehicles, except if their life or someone else's life is in immediate danger.
Former Officer Brennan is now facing first-degree felony charges, 2 counts of aggravated assault by a public servant.
This was a failure for one individual police officer. It had nothing to do with our policies. Policies did not allow that. Our training does not teach that.
A statement from Cantu's family reads, Eric is still on life support and is non-responsive, but his oxygen levels are showing an improvement. We are being patient and optimistic that better health is coming. Please continue to keep Eric in your thoughts and prayers. I'm Mike Valerio reporting.
Midterm elections are right around the corner, and yesterday, election workers were hard at work to register long lines of voters. To tell us more about the Texas registration turnout, we go to our reporter in the field, Regina Zepeda. Regina?
Thanks, Kyle. Well, as you mentioned, yesterday was the last day to register to vote, and the election workers in Dallas County were up all night to make sure that everyone in line was registered. Around 400 people completed the registration form, many of those being first-time voters. Texas voter registration has surpassed the 2018 numbers by almost 2 million registered voters. This is an exciting time for those who want their voice to be heard. I know that I'm excited to exercise my own right to vote this upcoming election, along with those who are also registered. Noemi and Kyle, back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Regina. Well, Noemi, we had a little bit of rain yesterday, but today, not a cloud in sight.
Exactly, but I'm curious how the rest of the North Texas area looks, so let's go to Olivia to see how the weather is looking, Olivia.
Well, Nomi and Kyle, right now in Denton, Texas, the weather conditions are currently sunny and it's 87 degrees, and that's exactly what it feels like. The wind speeds are at 11 miles per hour, but later on tonight it is going to cool down. As you can see, the temperature will lower to 74 degrees, and that's what it will feel like as well. Wind speeds will be the same, and you'll get a chance to look up at the stars right before the sun comes back up tomorrow morning. Tomorrow's conditions will actually be a little bit cooler. It's going to be a high of 54. And it'll feel like 53, but wind speeds will slow down to 5 miles per hour. I can tell you a little bit more about when the clouds will be coming in, but that'll be later in the show. For now, back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Olivia. So, next time you drink that Starbucks double espresso, you could be getting more than a caffeine high. Delta Airlines is now partnering with Starbucks to bring their customers some extra Delta mileage points when they down their drinks. You'll get 1 mile for every $1 spent at Starbucks, but there's more. When you turn those points into a Delta flight on the day of your trip, you can earn double Stars Rewards points on your order. Link your Starbucks Rewards and Delta Sky Miles accounts on a special website to start earning Sky Miles. With Starbucks' 27 million members in the U.S. and Delta's 100 million global members, this partnership definitely can make that Frappuccino a sweeter deal.
And unlike Starbucks, Disney's new deals are quite unsweet. If you're planning a trip to the happiest place on earth, expect to dish out a little more cash for your tickets. This month, the company increased ticket prices by $10 for each single park ticket. Since 2017, there has been a 36% increase in the cost of admissions. This price spike also includes park services such as the Disney Genie plus the Lightning Lane. The new pricing is modified according to expected demand on any given day.
When we come back, high school students might have to take their ACT test again next year.
And the need to fill teacher positions in Texas classrooms may have alarming consequences. Stay with us.
Imagine it's ice cream day at the office. And everyone from the day before voted for their favorite flavor. Everyone but you. You decided not to vote. The flavor they picked isn't the one that you wanted. But can you really complain? Shh! Now imagine that with an elected official.
Choose not to vote, choose not to be heard. Get registered today.
It's that time of year where everyone plays a dangerous game with the flu. Going in uneducated, you run the risk of symptoms like cough, migraine, and fatigue. Don't be like this guy. Combat the flu with cough drops, ibuprofen, and a good night's sleep. Be smart, don't catch the flu.
Russian strikes continue. At least 7 people were killed at a market in an eastern Ukrainian town. Missiles also hit the city of Zaporizhia and its suburbs. Fred Platkin has more from Kiev.
We were watching very closely that speech that Vladimir Putin gave earlier today at that energy forum in Moscow to see whether or not he would react to some of the things that U.S. President Joe Biden told our own Jake Tapper in an exclusive interview on Tuesday, especially the remarks that President Biden made saying that he believed that Vladimir Putin is still a rational actor but had gravely miscalculated, and also, of course, talking about the threat of the Russians possibly using tactical nuclear weapons if they continue to lose on the battlefield. Now, Putin did not speak about any of that. However, he did say that he believed that the attacks on the Nord Stream pipeline were an act of international terrorism, as he put it. And he also said that he believed that the Ukrainians were behind the attack on the Kerch Bridge that happened this past weekend. Obviously, the Ukrainians have not claimed responsibility for that. However, the Kremlin did comment on that interview that Jake Tapper did. I want to read some of it. This is a quote. "Every day that Western heads of state, the U.S. as well as European, practice nuclear rhetoric every day, we consider this a pernicious and provocative practice." That is Dmitry Peskov speaking there. Meanwhile, here in Kiev, you have a show of defiance from the people and from the authorities. In fact, the area where I'm standing right now was hit by a Russian missile strike early Monday morning. 5 people were killed here. And as you can see, the Ukrainians very quick to patch all of that back up and get traffic rolling again. At the same time, this country does remain under attack. There were several air raid siren alarms here in the Ukrainian capital overnight, and the city of Zaporizhia once again hit by a multitude of missiles. Fred Platkin, CNN, Kiev.
We will continue to monitor the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine.
Now, ACT test scores are the lowest they've been ever since 1991. Reporter Sierra Pope has the story.
Thanks, Nomi. I'm standing here in front of Willis Library, a place where students go to explore books and study for assignments. However, the pandemic has caused a decrease in ACT test scores, which is the lowest results have been in the past 30 years. An increasing number of students are beginning their college careers without meeting college readiness benchmarks. This becomes a challenge for students to meet the standard requirements in a math or English class due to lack of preparation from ACT tests. Along with students struggling in the classroom, teachers are also facing circumstances, with many of them teaching classes without their certification. Austin Hedgecoth has more on this topic. Austin?
That's right, Sierra. Tonight, the focus isn't just on who's sitting in the classrooms, but also who's standing at the front of them. Due to the recent educator shortage, 1 in 5 new hires don't even have a teaching certificate. A spokesperson for the Texas Education Agency said that by skipping the certification process, many new educators are missing key training ahead of their first jobs. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic and general burnout, most school districts have no choice but to fill they can with whoever they can. One thing to consider, though, is practical experience. The TEA created the Districts of Innovation program years ago so schools could bring in experts and specialists to teach, meaning while these new educators may have no background in the classroom, many do have years of experience working in relevant fields. At its core, this new trend means that schools in Texas is changing. Whether that change is for better or worse, the next round of ACT scores may have the answer. Nomi and Kyle, back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Austin. Well, summer's over, but it certainly doesn't feel that way when you step outside.
Exactly, not at all, Kyle, but hopefully we can have some cooler weathers this upcoming week. How's the rest of the week looking, Olivia?
Well, for those of you at home who don't like to track mud in the house, I don't have the best news for you for our 7-day forecast, but currently right now in Denton, Texas, it is 87 degrees. It's warm and neighboring cities are experiencing the same thing. In Graham, out west, it's going to be 86 degrees. In McKinney, it's going to be 89, and that's going to be one of the warmer temperatures. Now, when you look out towards Stephenville, it's going to be 88 degrees, but across the state, if you travel up north, it's going to be 76 degrees. If you do that on the weekend, you're going to run into some scattered storms, and I'll get into that in a second. But also down south in Austin, as you can see, it's 86 degrees, similar to Denton, Texas, and out west in El Paso, it's going to be 80 degrees. Now, as I mentioned in our 7-day forecast, I don't have the best news for you. Tomorrow, it is going to be warm and sunny. Like today, you'll see there is a high of 83 degrees and a low of 50. Friday, similar temperatures, a high of 88 and a low of 65. Now Saturday, you're going to be able to see here that partly cloudy weather conditions are going to be introduced. Warmest temperature within the next 7 days with a high of 90. Now the next day on Sunday, scattered thunderstorms will appear, and the high will be 75 with a low of 56. On Monday, you'll see it'll be 72 degrees for the high with the low of 47. And the next day, Tuesday, our partly cloudy weather conditions will reappear with cooler temperatures though. And then on Wednesday, it's going to be 68 degrees with a low of 44. So completely different Wednesday next week that we're looking at, but right now it's warm, so let's bask in the sun. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Olivia. Now, when you go to the state fair, there is a sense of excitement that comes with that visit. However, this week I found an altar that is touching the hearts of many while also provoking change and reform. Let's take a look. This year, the state fair's Mundo Latino brings together candles, pictures, and kids' toys to honor the 21 lives lost at Robb Elementary. Today, we talked to Rafael Luna, the creator of this exhibit, who says this is a call to action.
And it's an emotion that tugs at your heart.
It was a sense for change that motivated Rafael to remember the kids and teachers in a purposeful way.
I've had relatives come that it was their aunt and the whole bit, and they said, oh my God, they said, we've seen a lot of memorials, but none like this, because it has an action item that you can do. So it means a lot when there is an action item that we can do for each child.
That call to action being the QR codes located beside every victim's name, allowing visitors to scan and visit sites, prompting people to act or donate for a cause.
For example, call your principal and call the teacher and say, thank you for taking care of my child, keeping my child safe. Maybe you want to donate blood. Maybe you want to give to the fund that helps victims. Maybe you want to call a state senator and say, let's change gun control.
Hundreds of people pass through Mundo Latino daily, yet the sight of the altar leaves many feeling emotional.
I think overwhelmed is probably how I feel. Yeah, it's just scary.
As Courtney Wilson and her daughter looked at the altar, the mother of the third grader couldn't hold back the tears in her eyes, saying she saw her daughter in the faces of the Uvalde kids.
Kids should be able to be safe at school. I can't imagine what those parents are going through, and that shouldn't have happened. There were so many things that were wrong about it.
It is reactions like this one, Rafael expresses, he hopes impact people enough to fight for change and reform.
So I want to make sure that we don't only just come and see the pictures and see the names. I want to do something for each one of those children. Pick one As long as you do one of them, then you'll remember that child, you'll remember what you did, and you've been contributing to gun reform. You'll be contributing to changing the way things are.
Want to visit this ofrenda yourself, you can find it in the second floor of the State Fair's Mundo Latino exhibit until October 23rd.
I mean, I'm just glad that the Texas State Fair is taking the time to bring attention to this tragedy that's affecting all of Texas.
It's a good altar.
Visits to the hospital are going to be a little bit less lonely with a new high-tech friend to keep you company.
And we have more impressive technology updates coming after the break.
Man, I have all these non-perishable food items and I don't know what to do with them.
I don't have any food at all.
Do you have too many non-perishable goods?
Yeah.
Have you run out of food and can't get any more?
Yeah.
Well, don't have a cow? Head on down to the UNT Food Pantry. Located behind Crumley Hall and Diamond Eagle Student Resource Center, the Food Pantry is the place for UNT students to get all the food they need. You'll be utterly surprised by all the options they have there. From gluten-free to lactose intolerant, even vegan and vegetarian, they have it all. Go to studentaffairs.unt.edu/food pantry for more information.
Move on down to the UNT Food Pantry.
Hi, I'm Cantu, the president of Black Film Club, and what I love about BFC is the atmosphere and the members. The family feel that we have in our club is really genuine. What about you, Bree?
My name is Bree. I'm the vice president of Black Film Club, and what I love about Black Film Club is there is a small but close, like, little family. You know, I feel like a lot of times when you go to a PWI, it's hard to find like a Black community that share the same interests in you. So I'm very blessed and grateful to have, you know, found my family.
What I would say I like about Black Film Club is obviously the environment that it sets for everybody. I love the officers. I've been rocking with basically all of them since day one, since freshman year. We all came in here at the same time, all got involved with Black Film Club at the same time. So it's been a nice community to grow with, and then seeing new members come, seeing them get interested, seeing how they like Black film, teaching them what we can teach them before we leave, and giving them the mantle to take over. It's a blessing.
Now, Kyle, technology is a great thing. It can do so much for us.
Absolutely. I don't know what I would do without it. In fact, it can take you to sky high and beyond. And Chama Agbor is in the studio with more. Chama?
That's right, Naomi and Kyle. Well, it's all about space tonight. First, NASA is due to attempt a new launch of the Artemis 1 mission from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. No humans on this one, but it's part of a program to return people to the moon. But the journey has been difficult, facing a number of problems from a faulty sensor, a fuel break, and even severe weather, namely Hurricane Ian. But NASA has announced they will try again the early hours of Monday, November 14th. This, however, is not the only news in space. This time, an American billionaire is getting ready to suit up. SpaceX has announced it has booked another mission around the moon, this time with the billionaire. The billionaire in question is Dennis Tito, who in 2001 paid his way to the International Space Station. This time, he will be accompanied by his wife, Akiko, on a week-long lunar expedition. The 81-year-old was the first person ever to pay his way to space. That was 21 years ago. Technology in space is all we know expensive, but you could say the same thing about high-tech here on Earth. Microsoft has showed off their most expensive desktop computer. The 28-inch Surface Studio 2 Plus desktop computer will cost you $4,300. With the addition of a digital pen, it puts you at about $4,500. The desktop features an Intel Core H3 processor, 50% faster performance, and a new chip for quicker graphics. It also includes an updated display, cameras, mics, and an on-screen drawing capabilities. Well, Naomi and Kyle, I think that's all great, but I'll have to say I'm going to stick with my own laptop. Back to you guys at the desk.
A Massachusetts hospital is taking a high-tech approach to make their patients feel more comfortable. Their new robot buddy is named Robin, and CNN's Jim Morelli has more on the interactive invention.
Robin.
Yes, Kendra?
I'm a little nervous today. I have to have an x-ray.
It can't take the place of humans, it can't take the place of dogs. But at UMass Memorial Children's Medical Center, the staff sees an important role for their newest hire, Robin the robot.
When kids are here, they are nervous. They're anxious about what's going to happen. There's a lot of new faces. There's a lot of equipment.
Robin is not just another piece of equipment. Last year, Time magazine named the interactive robot one of the best inventions of 2021, praising Robin's ability to put sick children at ease.
Robin is preloaded with software and anticipates the kinds of questions that kids might ask.
And Robin asks the kind of questions that can lead to engagement with pediatric patients.
Jim, what is your favorite animal?
Easing loneliness, alleviating fear, these are some of the immediate benefits of an interaction with Robin. But evidence suggests deeper benefits may be possible.
Initial research for Robin the robot actually showed decreased admission times, increased compliance in a medical setting for things like getting out of bed and taking medication.
UMass Memorial is the first children's hospital on the East Coast to acquire Robin and only the third in the U.S.
My favorite animal is the chicken.
And Robin's favorite food is pizza, if only they could eat it.
You got it. Great job.
Robin will be staying at UMass Memorial Children's Medical Center for a year. It's absolutely amazing. I mean, how much of an impact technology has made on the world.
Definitely,
I mean, amazing.
and yeah, speaking of impact, UNT's women's sports have been on quite a roll lately. Let's go to Spence for more.
That's right, y'all. From a new Defensive Player of the Week to yet another strong finish on the Lynx, the women of UNT Sports really had it going this past week. Stay tuned.
Hey, listen to my flow to save some H2O. This my water rhyme, and this is how it goes. First, turn off the sink and take some time to think. When you waste water, our supply shrinks. When you take a shower, not more than an hour. Shoot for 10 minutes and save water power. Use a reusable bottle, smart like Aristotle. Ditch all the plastic and be a role model. And that was my H2O flow. Please remember how it goes, because if you don't, Earth will go, oh no!
UNT junior Shadiman Hawley was named Conference USA Defensive Player of the Week after her stellar performance against Louisiana Tech this past Sunday. Hawley finished with a season-high 8 blocks along with 3 solo stops. Add 6 kills on 11 attacks and 1 dig for good measure, and you've got a recipe for a mean green conference sweep. UNT will host 25th ranked Western Kentucky this Friday at 6 p.m. After tying for 3rd place on the individual leaderboard, grad student Audrey Tan was named Conference USA Golfer of the Week. She led the Mean Green to a tie for 4th place after finishing 1 under for the tournament, just 2 shots back of the winner. The Mean Green will finish their fall slate October 28th through the 30th, where they will travel to Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, for the Battle at the Beach, hosted by TCU. Last week, I spoke to members of the Pi Kappa Alpha fraternity about how physical fitness helps with not just physical health, but also their mental health.
Working out is something that many students take very seriously for a lot of reasons. Whether it's getting that summer body, taking the mind off of stress, or training for something specific, most college students have some kind of strength and conditioning routine. However, for one organization, working out is so much more than just looking better in the mirror. The members of the Pi Kappa Alpha fraternity boast several character traits, with one of the most notable being athletes. This doesn't simply mean they play a sport, but rather, according to them, the benefits go beyond physical appearance.
And the way I see it now, working out for me is almost like brushing your teeth or showering. You know, if you go a day without that, you almost don't feel right or something like that. And so really, it's a huge benefit on mental health. It's probably a bigger thing, you know, mental health now than it is for physical health. You know, it's just something I like to do every day.
What I at least look into it as, besides just working out, there's also the time after you're done working out where you have recovery and eating. And within my major of kinesiology, I'm actually learning more about it as I go. And it's showing me that there's a lot more to this that I can learn and still continue to learn my entire journey through it, rather than just looking good and getting bigger muscles.
While getting into it for the first time may seem intimidating, these students assure you that everyone has to start somewhere.
I would, you know, give this advice to anyone, is whether you love it or hate it, do it for a week. After that week, you'll realize how many benefits it has. You will look better, but you'll also just feel a lot better, and it'll just become a consistent thing.
With more and more students flooding to UNT each year, these students hope to lead by example and encourage all those who haven't to give it a try and see how it works for them.
Be sure to look out for these students at the UNT Rec Center. That's all for sports. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Spencer. Well, some big news for all you Ghostbuster fans, just in time for Halloween. How about a night of busting ghosts? Sony Pictures and vacation rental company Vacasa teamed up to offer fans an opportunity to stay in the Ghostbusters Firehouse replica in Portland, Oregon. The firehouse is packed with the ghost-busting essentials, including ghost traps, proton packs, and the classic Ecto-1 vehicle from the movie. And for a special treat, guests can even try on the suits from the movies. The rate to stay in it is $19.84 per night in honor of the movie's debut. Now, Kyle, what do you think about that? I think that's super cool.
I want to do it.
Yeah,
I want to do it. Like, I want to drive the
too.
car. I want to wear the uniform. I want to wear all, like, I want to role play.
It's not Halloween if you don't do that.
Nope.
Well, thanks, guys. That's it for today. Thanks for watching ntTV Nightly News.
Join us again tomorrow night at 6 here on North Texas Television.